I'm just warning you in the beginning. If I ramble or repeat myself, I apologize. But with such an exciting event right around the corner, I wanted to put together a little feature for my thoughts on Nintendo right now. So my history with Nintendo goes a long way back. I got my NES in 1989, I believe. So that would have made me 7 years old at the time. I'm really dating myself there. But I didn't know anything about Nintendo or the NES or any of the Nintendo characters prior to wanting the NES. I was introduced to the NES by my cousin who was the same age. My parents brought me over to my cousin's house for something, a birthday party or something, and he had the NES and he was playing Duck Hunt, and I was like, "What is this? This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen." It blew my mind. Like I didn't know how it was working. I couldn't fathom it. I hadn't seen anything like it before. And then after a while of playing that, he showed me Super Mario Brothers, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is even better than the last thing." And I remember sitting there for hours playing it and just having my mind blown. And I vividly remember from that point on begging my parents to pick me up an NES. And I don't remember what I ended up getting it for, if it was a holiday or a birthday, but they got me an NES. And I'll never forget, it was some special bundle that some retailer was doing that had Zelda 2 in it. So the first three games I played on the NES were Duck Hunt, Super Mario Brothers, and Zelda 2. And my mom sat down and played games with me. And we figured out Zelda 2 together, and that's one of my favorite gaming memories. It's stuck with me all these years, and I don't know. It's just such a special moment in memory to me, and it's when I look back on gaming, like just pure gaming, that's the memory that comes to mind. So it was definitely Nintendo that caused my interest in the world of video games, and from there on out, I just couldn't get enough. I obviously had all the Nintendo systems, the Game Boy and the Super Nintendo and N64 and all that. But as I said, Nintendo opened up my eyes to the world of video games. So while I had a special place in my heart for Nintendo, I also just loved video games in general. So I had a Sega Genesis, and I used to play Master System at my uncle's house. I had the Dreamcast, and pretty much after the days of the NES, if a major company put out a gaming system, I would pick it up. So Sega, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and that continues to this day. I have a PS4 and an Xbox One. I have a Wii U, obviously, and a 3DS. I just love games in general, but I without a doubt credit Nintendo for my entry into the world of video games, and Nintendo's directly responsible for the profession that I've held for the past 13 plus years, I think. Without Nintendo coming into my life, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. I mean, it's impacted my life in so many different ways, and it's such a huge part of who I am that I honestly have no idea where I'd be without Nintendo. So obviously, over the years, back when the NES was around, that was the king. Everybody that played video games had an NES and knew about it. And then as the years went on, Sega got in there, and then there was like the beginning of the console wars and all that stuff. And back when I was young and stupid, I used to get involved in those arguments too. I look back on it and I'm extremely embarrassed. But you're a kid, you're doing stupid things. Hopefully, you grow up and you move on. I've certainly grown up since then and moved on from those arguments. I'm all about people playing what they want, where they want, on whatever systems they enjoy, and I'm all about people just playing the games that they like. But for me, throughout all those years, there was just something about Nintendo that really stuck with me, something that really resonated with me. There's been amazing games across all systems, all platforms, no matter who makes them, but there's just something about Nintendo games. It's something I can't even put my finger on. It's a palpable feeling that's really hard to put into words, but it's not nostalgia, and it's not looking back on franchises with rose tinted glasses. It's just there's a way that Nintendo games come together where I'm like, yeah, that's the feeling. That's the feeling that I get from Nintendo games that usually I only get from Nintendo. And that's what's made me such a big fan, and it's hard to impart that on other people. Um, but there's still millions of Nintendo fans around nowadays, so clearly there's other people out there that get that feeling. It's just, I guess you'd call it magic. It's magic, just like a lot of people see what Disney does as magic or something like that. There's just something about an air about Nintendo and their projects and the way they approach games and the way they create games that just really impresses me. That's why it's hurt over the years to see Nintendo fall in and out of favor. There's always people that are open to all kinds of games on all platforms, but most of you know that there's been, it's the battle between Sony and Microsoft, and I greatly respect both companies, and I play my Xbox One and PS4 a lot, and love the games that are on those systems, but Nintendo has largely forgotten from those conversations for right or wrong reasons. There are certainly things Nintendo could be doing better to reach those audiences, and there's things where I think Nintendo's not getting a fair shake, but they fall in and out of discussion. When the Wii and the DS were around, it was a great time for Nintendo, absolutely fantastic time. And all I can remember during that era is thinking about how much I was enjoying Nintendo's content, but how worried I was about what was going to happen with Nintendo next. I vividly remember being on our podcast saying, let's enjoy it while we have it now, that Nintendo's doing so ridiculously well, and that's not going to last because nothing lasts forever. So let's enjoy what's going on right now. And unfortunately, that led to the situation with the Wii, or the Wii U, I'm sorry, and the 3DS. The 3DS didn't start out too hot, but now it's doing just fine. And the fact that it's selling out 6 years into its lifespan is amazing to me. But the Wii U just never hit its stride. It just never found a market. It was due to confusing marketing and lack of third-party support and some archaic steps that Nintendo took with the system. For better or worse, Nintendo always does things their own way, and that's something I greatly respect about them. But I can also recognize that it's they make moves that are going to push people away, and hopefully they learn from those mistakes and better themselves next time. So that brings us up to where we are now. 3DS, like I said, is doing more than fine, and Wii U just never found its place out there. And it's that struggle that the Wii U saw that has led to Nintendo having a really rough couple of years. It's been a tough time to be a Nintendo fan. Nintendo's going through a bit of a hibernation, a bit of a rebirth and a rebuild. They're branching out in different ways, like mobile, and they have theme park stuff coming up, and they pull projects away from Wii U because they're moving over the Switch and hoping to turn that into a hit. But it's been a tough couple of years for Nintendo fans. I mean, obviously the worst part was the loss of Satoru Iwata, who was an absolutely amazing man. The stuff that he said and the insight he had into the industry and the way he dedicated himself to every facet of what Nintendo did, there's nobody else like him. He was absolutely amazing. And it's sad to see him gone. It's still I'm still constantly surprised by how impacted I was by Mr. Iwata passing. It was a truly sad moment. I mean, I've had amazing things come up through working with Go Nintendo. I've gotten to interview people I never even dreamed of meeting, like Reggie Fils-Aimé or Shigeru Miyamoto. I never had the chance to sit down with Iwata, though. I had been in the same room with him a number of times. I had, exchanged pleasantries and stuff like that, but never had a chance to sit down and even just for 5 minutes pick the man's brain, and he's gone. And since then, it's just, it seems like Nintendo's been taking one hit after the other. But they move on, they power ahead, and it brings us to where we are now. A big part of Nintendo's future rests within the Switch. I mean, I'm recording this at 3 in the morning, so we're just a handful of hours away from Nintendo's big Switch presentation. This is going to be the real first big push of the system. We had the reveal trailer, but now we're going to get to see what Nintendo's been cooking up and what third parties are doing and what their plans are for the system and all that stuff. This is a major moment for Nintendo and Nintendo fans. I mean, it's equal parts, for me anyway, equal parts scary and exciting. I'm so eager to see what Nintendo is doing, and I'm so eager to see what the reaction is to it. The reaction to Switch so far has been good, but you never know what's going to happen after the presentation. And this is the last piece of hardware that we know of that Iwata worked on that we'll see released. This is the last little bit of him, which is crazy to think of, but this is a piece of his history that we're going to see come out. This is the last bit of hardware he had his hands in that's going to release to Nintendo fans. So I think that's something really special, and hopefully we see the Switch become a success, because I would like to see him remembered for one more success before he left us. I mean, obviously he's involved with other games that are still going to come out on Switch and stuff like that, or he was involved with them before he passed. But as far as hardware goes, this is it. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm excited for the event, and I suspect Nintendo's got some great things to show. So I didn't want to let this day pass by without putting together something, some sort of discussion about the Switch and this event. Because, 24 hours from now, we'll all be talking about what we already know, and the things we're really hyped for, and the things we're complaining about, and brand new questions are going to come up. But this is a time when every Nintendo fan, or almost every Nintendo fan out there, is excited. Where we don't know what's coming, and that's exciting. There's been plenty of rumors, but you still don't know what's going to come true, and we're all filled with hope. Hope that Nintendo really knocks it out of the park with this thing. And it's a time when eyes that don't usually watch Nintendo, people that usually follow Sony or Microsoft or stuff like that, some of those eyes are going to be watching what Nintendo does with the Switch. So it's exciting. We're all together in this moment right now, and there's big things coming. It's a really fun, exciting time. You can feel it in the air, and I'm excited to see how that transitions into what Nintendo shows. So I just wanted to create something for this moment, something to look back on, 5 years from now or something like that. See where we were at, what we were thinking, how people were feeling, and what the optimism was. And I just thought it'd be a cool little time capsule to do something like this. Explain why I'm a Nintendo fan, why I'm excited for tonight, how I feel the air about the situation is, and I don't know. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. I'm looking forward to covering whatever comes out, and just like you guys, I'm looking forward to get my hands on the Switch. I'm a lifelong Nintendo fan. I know they're going to create content for the Switch that I will love. I'm just hoping they create content that brings in other people as well. So I'll be out there day one, ready to get the system. I'm sure many of you will as well. And hopefully when we look back on this a handful of years from now, we think about, man, we didn't know all the great content that was coming our way and how awesome the Switch was going to be. So fingers crossed. Hey guys, RMC here from Go Nintendo. If you like what you saw in the video, why don't you give us a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe? We'd love to have you. If you want to see what else we're up to, you can check out GoNintendo.com for 24-hour Nintendo news. You can visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/GoNintendo. You can check us out on Twitter at twitter.com/GoNintendoTweet. And we're even over on Instagram at instagram.com/GoNintendo. I put all the links in the description just to make it easier for you guys to follow. Thanks a lot.